What is going on, you guys? This is Kevin, Full Metal Ginger, and yeah, man, got a whole nother slab of LPs to talk about for you today. Specifically, classic death metal. 2 videos in less than a week. I think I might be spoiling you just a tad. Anyway, I mean, don't expect to be blown away by anything in this. Everybody knows these albums, or should at least have heard of them, or 98% of you probably already own them. I've actually had pretty much all of these on some kind of format other than records, I mean, for a long time. And I was kind of debating on whether or not to even talk about these, but it was like, well, I mean, the vinyl versions popped up and I had to have them also, you know, it kind of goes with everything else I own, so, you know, why not go ahead and grab them. But I mean, there's a couple of them I've had in for a long time. Some of them I've had in, I don't know, pretty recently, so it was like, let's just go ahead and talk about them and knock them out. I mean, I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of people going, oh, classic death metal, sick. Yeah, I mean, you clicked on the video, obviously, so here we go. We'll go ahead. Oh, real quickly, wanted to mention here soon, probably within the next few videos, I kind of want to go ahead and start running through the whole CD collection again, that whole series. I started it like 4 years ago and never finished it, and I don't know, I've just been kind of getting the itch to do it again. I know it's a big cliche thing, but I don't know, it's just something I could crank out pretty quick. And yeah, man, I mean, the collection's grown absolutely substantially since then, so that'd be within the next few videos if that's something you'd be interested in. So anyway, today's soundtrack, listening to Morgue-Eroded Thoughts. I mean, it's classic death metal day, so why not include this on here as our soundtrack. It's their 93 debut full length, and as far as I know, the very last thing they ever put out, recorded, or anything. I just got the CD version in. I've had the cassette forever, so I was like, well, I don't really play cassettes on here, so this would be a nice one to throw on. Anyway, let's get into it. First one we've got, one of my favorite death metal bands ever. There was actually, I had an idea floating around that I might want to re-record my top whatever death metal albums ever, and they're definitely going to have one on there, but needless to say, I love this band. Malevolent Creation. 10 Commandments, their debut full length from 91 on RC Records. This is actually a 2018 reissue on Hammerheart. So they did a really good job with this also. I mean, just look at it. Looks phenomenal. But I mean, in terms of a debut full length, you couldn't ask for much more than this. I mean, just the sheer amount of riffage on here. The leads are beautiful. The solos are breathtaking. And overall, Brett's vocals really kind of seal the deal for me when it comes to this. This is clearly a death metal record, and maybe it's just the way Brett does his vocals in some parts of the songs, but I mean, it has some thrash elements in there, so I mean, you can tell this is still kind of a, you know, it's definitely a transfer album. I mean, it's still fully death metal, but I mean, you can still hear the thrash influence in there for sure, but phenomenal. I mean, I still like Retribution just a little bit more. But this is like 1A and 1B when it comes to Malevolent Creation albums. I've already shown this one, so I was just kind of, you know, bringing this on here for sake of the argument. But I mean, this is still my favorite. But I mean, yeah, I can't really say too much. I mean, it's great. I mean, Premature Burial, Remnants of Withered Decay, Multiple Stab Wounds, Thou Shalt Kill, Decadence Within. It's a phenomenal album. And Hammerheart did a great job with this. Well, the foil on here, it looks really great, you know, compared with the matte. And they did a great job, I think. There's not a whole lot that comes with it. I mean, you just got your inner sheet, which is, I mean, pretty standard, obviously. And I think the record is, I don't remember, I haven't played this one. I've been playing my CD, so I haven't played this one in particular in a while. Yeah, this is just on black vinyl, so not a whole hell of a lot to look at there. But yeah, man, for an album to come out when it did in 91, when some of the all-time cornerstones of death metal were being put out, this was definitely right up there, and need I say more. I mean, great album. Alright, now, talked about 10 Commandments, I talked about Retribution. I don't understand why this album gets the hate that it does. I mean, it's not everybody. There are definitely people out there who are going to shit all over it, and I don't understand. And there's other people that's, yeah, it's not too bad. But I don't know why it's not heralded as the first 2 albums. So we've got Stillborn. They're 93 and overall 3rd full length. And I mean, I don't get it. Every time I listen to this, I'm like, okay, it's a slightly more raw version of what they put out on the first 2 albums. Brett's vocals are a little bit more guttural. There's the occasional wonky riff, but I mean, overall, this is everything that Malevolent Creation has ever done up to this point. And it's just like a slightly different production. So I don't get the issue. I really don't. I mean, I would definitely say this is not as good as the first 2, but it's not like by a lot. So I mean, I don't get the argument. I really don't. I mean, everywhere I look, it's like, Stillborn, fuck that album. I mean, it's just, whatever. So this is a Listenable Records reissue. Came out in, I think, 2018 also. And once again, it's pretty standard. Just the inner sheet with lyrics. And I think this record, I also haven't played this one in particular in a while. Yeah, this is a colored vinyl. I guess clear with red and black splatter. Looks great. But yeah, I still don't understand. I mean, I will fully admit that the first 2 are better. I enjoy them better, but yeah, I mean, this is, all the leads are still there, all the really hooky rhythms are there. I mean, everything you would expect Malevolent Creation to put out is on this record, so I don't understand it. I mean, let me know how you feel about it. I would definitely be interested, because I still to this day don't get it. So there you go. Oh, by the way, I meant to mention we've only got 3 bands in here to talk about, but I mean, I've got multiple albums from all of them, so yeah. Anyway, all right, moving on to another band that's like, when it comes to death metal, I mean, you're always hearing about Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, Death, Deicide, Obituary. I mean, I could go on and on, but these first 2 bands, like Malevolent, kind of, but Broken Hope doesn't really get the respect I feel they deserve, at least with their first couple. I mean, they're always kind of like, they do, but it's always kind of like on the back burner. But anyway, I'm rambling. We've got the debut full-length, Swamped in Gore. It, to me, is my favorite album by them. It's definitely more on the raw side than they would do later on. But I mean, it's super catchy. Joe Tychek's vocals are phenomenal. One of the earliest guttural singers. I mean, you had Barnes at the time. You had Will Romer was doing those types of vocals, but a lot of guys are still like more of the screamier or thrashier style of vocals. And he's definitely one of the earlier examples of the super gutturals. And yeah, I mean, I kind of wish this had the original art. I don't know if it's the original or the other art I like a little bit better. This one's kind of really crappy, but it definitely gives it that charm to it. It's their 91 debut. I mean, goddamn, 91 was the year for death metal. So this one is a Floga Records reissue. I think all the Broken Hope I'm going to show you is on Floga. This was originally out on Grindcore International, a little small label. Yeah, here's the other art I was talking about. They at least put it in here. So there you go, nice gatefold. Inner sheet wise, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't think this one comes with one. Well, of course not. You got all the lyrics right here. So there you go. Did a really good job with this one. This is the only one that's a gatefold. All the rest is just a regular jacket. But and I think this is the only one that's a colored variant. I know they put out 2 different versions. There was one that was just they had a couple variants, and then another one that was just straight black. So this is kind of like a nasty puke and blood kind of variant. I don't know what the actual variant is, but I mean, it looks really good. But this is a band in their early stages and with their classic lineup that I just kind of prefer when it comes to these guys, just where everything sounds so raw, and they were definitely very hungry at the time. And you know, I just didn't really feel that so much on subsequent records, which that happens with most bands. But I mean, this one to me is just the catchiness of it, all the hooks in it, and just the way everything kind of comes together. It just blows me away still. I love this album. And as far as I know, at least Jeremy Wagner was talking about this being one of the first, if not the very first death metal album to be recorded digitally. But it still has that early you know, analog death metal sound to it. So I mean, I got no complaints. So there you go. And next we have their follow-up album. Came out in '93, I believe. This is the Bowels of Repugnance, and it's fairly close to Swamped in Gore. I mean, they kind of went in and sharpen their sound, got a little bit better, got a little tighter, tweaked some things here and there. It's a little bit more technical, and this is another one of my favorites from them. The first two albums for me are where it's at. They still have the classic lineup. Brian Griffin on guitar, Ed Hughes on bass, though I don't think he toured for this album. I think he recorded it and then left the band. But you got Wagner and Tychek on there as well. So there you go. But I mean, yeah, they're virtually identical. Just this one's a little bit more polished and stands out a little bit more. I still like Swamp and Gore just a little bit better. So here's the inner sheet. And I'm pretty sure the record is just on black vinyl. I can go ahead and check real quick, make sure. Yes. So again, this is another Floga reissue, and they always put out killer stuff. So there's that. I've also had I meant to show these earlier. I've got the Floga Swamp and Gore on cassette, and I had the CD out somewhere. What to do with it? There it is. So there you go. I'm trying to be like, yeah, see, I've got it like everything on every format. There's the Malevolence, by the way. So I've had these in forever. I think I've shown these as well. So there you go. And also recently got this one in, the Corpse Gristle version of Bowels of Repugnance. And they did a really good job on this as well. So yeah, I mean, pretty much take Swamp and Gore and just kind of intensify it and make everything a little tighter and the band kind of coming together a little bit better. And there you go. Now this one is the album that introduced me to the band, so I've really got a soft spot for it, but it doesn't stand out or really stand up to criticism like it did to me originally. But we've got the third album, Repulsive Conception. This is their 95 is when this came out, and again on Floga Records. And this is the first album I heard from this band. And I remember specifically the song was Into the Necrosphere. Still love that song, and I loved the album for a long time, but then the more I listen to it, it's just, I don't know, it gets a bit redundant. I mean, there's a lot of riffs that are very similar sounding, and anymore, I mean, it feels like there's a couple songs on here that I really love, and the rest feels like filler. Grindbox, I love Into the Necrosphere, obviously, For Only the Sick, Freezer Burnt, maybe a couple other ones here and there, but overall, this one doesn't really stand out to me that much. It's honestly probably, outside of Omen of Disease, it's probably one of the more boring ones they put out. And it's probably where, people came up with the idea that they're kind of a boring band. I mean, it probably stemmed from this album. It just doesn't really go anywhere. And I think this is a little bit later. I'll get to what I was talking about later. But and again, just an inner sheet. I'm going to pull that out. It's pretty much like all the other ones, and the record again on black. So need I say more? Definitely let me know how you feel about this one. I don't know, it's just, at first I loved it, and then it just kind of got a bit too repetitive and a bit too samey sounding, but still, I mean, I'm really stoked to have it, just to be able to have all the Broken Hopes, or at least almost, because Loathing, the only album I don't own on any format, and I can't seem to find it anywhere, and I know Floga put it out however long ago, but yeah, it just never seems to pop up, so I'm probably going to have to bite the bullet and go to Discogs if I want it. But yeah, it's the only Broken Hope I don't have on any format at all. I have literally every other album, but I mean, now this is the one I hear, it seems like get crapped on the most, which is like, really? I don't get it. And this is probably at a time when the band was going through a lot of turmoil. Here's their fifth album, Grotesque Blessings. And the band was going through a lot right now. I think this might have been around the time that they found out Ryan Stanek had been kind of scamming people out of their merch and just keeping all the money. But I mean, it's a very different album. It's a whole lot more in terms of technicality. Wagner definitely kicked that through the roof. And a huge lineup change. I don't remember if Ed Hughes is on this one or not. Not Hughes, but Brian Griffin. I think he was still on there. Yeah, Griffin was still there, but they lost Wagner and Sean Glass had already left the band. They'd already had problems with Metal Blade, and which is crazy because I know Loathing is one of the most popular albums. So I mean, I don't remember what exactly happened So they're just going through a lot of stuff, and I think shortly after this album came out, the whole band basically dissolved. It's when Joe Thychek quit, and I don't know, but I mean, this is a really, really good album. I mean, it's definitely a little different, but I mean, coming off of something like Repulsive Conception, this is night and day in terms of how different it feels. I mean, the overall vibe is there, but it's so much more technical. It's produced a little differently. It just sounds kind of almost too produced, but I really like the way this kind of comes across. And every album is just, or every song on here is great. Chemically Castrated is probably my favorite, but I mean, yeah, I mean, that's just how I feel about it. Again, just a regular old inner sheet. I could have been showing both sides of these. I didn't really want to pull them out just to show you a bunch of words that you won't be able to read. And yeah, again on black vinyl. So yeah, the first Floga, or the Swamp to Gore is the only one I have on a colored variant, but whatever. I mean, this looks great though, by the way. It's probably my favorite cover art they ever put out. It just looks awesome. But yeah, there you go. Definitely check this one out. Give it a listen. I mean, it's very different, but I mean, I think it's great. So that's all the Broken Hope I have, at least on vinyl. And moving along, we got a couple more. No introduction needed for this band. I mean, like the pinnacle, or one of the pinnacles when it comes to Dutch death metal. Sinister-Cross the Styx. These are the ones that I'd had on CD forever, and I was like, well, hell, I gotta have the vinyl versions too. So there you go. 1992 debut on Nuclear Blast. Who put this one out? This is a Cosmic Key reissue. I want to say 2018, 2019, something like that. But I mean, the guitar tone on here is what it makes this album phenomenal to me. I just love how sharp it is, how intense it is. I mean, it's just like a searing fire going on the entire time they're playing, man. I love this record. And the variant on here is really cool too. Nice pukey, disgusting color there. As I'm dropping everything on the floor. Seems to happen all the time when I'm doing LP videos. But yeah, man, what else is there really to say? I mean, if like you're a fan of like Malevolent Creation, Monstrosity, stuff like that, you're definitely going to dig this. I don't think there's anything crazy on the inner sheet. So picture of the band that you can barely see. Yeah, there you go. Awesome stuff. Need I say more? And to finish the video and follow that one up, we have Sinister's second full length, Diabolical Summoning, which pretty much is a close to a clone of the first album. Nothing wrong with that because both albums are brilliant. I think just for me personally, I like the guitar tone a little bit more on Across the Styx. I mean, it's a little bit more sharp, and it's just, I mean, God, it's just like, it's like the Fires of Hell playing on those guitars. And these are like that as well. Maybe a little bit heavier though, but it's just not quite as sharp of an attack. But that's really the only difference. I mean, they're very, very close. So, I mean, that's the only thing I would have to say is the guitar tone on Across the Styx is superior for me. But otherwise, exact same. I mean, I love both these records, honestly. It's like 1A and 1B when it comes to Sinister. And I think this one is an orange variant. Yeah, orange with like a silver. So, oh yeah. I like how, especially on this one, the LP actually matches up with the artwork, so it looks pretty killer. But yeah, what else is there to say? I mean, all these records I love. These are some of my favorites of all time, so I really wanted to talk about them. I know that it's pretty much, you know, duh. I mean, who doesn't know these? But anyway, that's pretty much all I have. Probably taking a little bit more time on this. So yeah, next time, either the CD collection or I'm going to go ahead and knock out my last LP collection for a while, and it's going to be probably about 8 records on that one as well, and probably more black metal. So I know I got some Immortal to talk about, some Abigail, stuff like that, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. Yeah, I guess that's all I got. Thank you guys for subscribing, watching the video, checking it out and everything. Really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.